Hi.
Hello, how are
What can we do
you?
for you tonight?
I'm pretty good. Hi, Christy, V.
Hi.
I hate to play favorites, but hello, V.
Hi.
I figured I'd take a moment to let it be known that you made a really big influence on my life, particularly.
Oh my
you,
goodness.
Matt Dillahunty, Don Baker, Tracy Harris, just all the ACA.
Oh my gosh.
Very good company.
Yeah, right? Oh, thank you so much. That means so much.
So, do you guys have anything down in the notes there?
Very brief. It says you were raised Mormon?
Okay, yeah. So basically my, I guess, dilemma in my thought process is I'm a recently out trans woman, and I was raised Mormon, and basically there's a dichotomy that, I've heard you say a number of times that even after you leave religion, there's still those things that stick with you,
Sure.
And one of them for me is either you are the patriarch, the alpha, the breadwinner, the whatever, or you are the sweet, submissive housewife who just stays at home and your only objective in life is to be a baby factory and give it up whenever your husband wants it,
Yeah. Yeah.
And then document the family legacy.
Later, yeah. Yep. And that was just basically my question is, all these years later, I'm out of the church a good 5 years, but how do you shake those thoughts or it just...
So are you struggling with trying to fit into some of those roles or, with not fitting in the roles that you feel like you should be fitting into, or what exactly is going on?
Basically, yeah. I know it's just cognitive dissonance, I guess, but I know that, the binary option of what kind of person you are is, just completely irrelevant, but it's still something because I was taught so much as a child, it still sticks with me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can relate to this, but growing up and into adulthood, I mean, the expectations to fulfill masculine gender roles that I had were like really uncomfortable. And that didn't mean that I wanted to be like, go to the other side of the very patriarchal binary that we were taught and like, not have a career or something like that. Although if there are any billionaires out there who want to marry me, I'm available. So yeah, it's, I think when you deconstruct from hardline toxic religion and when you throw in something extra complicated like queerness on top of it, you got to take some time to figure out who you are. At least that's certainly been the case for me, and who you're comfortable being. And I don't know if you can relate to this, but for a long time, because of the kind of Christianity that I internalized growing up, I didn't really believe in self-love. I didn't think that we had to love ourselves in order to love others. I thought that was selfish. I was like, what are all these like pop culture people saying that you don't have to love yourself. We're supposed to treat others better than ourselves. And so there's a lot of self-erasure that goes on, I think, particularly for women. And, even those of us who maybe didn't even know we were women the whole time, but like we were definitely not internalizing things the way that a cis man would internalize them. So yeah, it's a lot to figure out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can relate to quite a bit of that, actually.
Like a lot of the things we've been talking about, exposure is going to be one of your best weapons in just becoming more comfortable in these different things. So one place I'd recommend maybe is actually the Mormon Lesbian podcast. That's available, I think, only on Apple Podcast. I could be wrong about that, but we'll actually be having them on air with us coming up this month. So I do want to mention that, just because the first couple of episodes really do look at specifically deconstructing Mormonism from a queer identity. And so I think that might be something that you could find some solace in. But beyond that, just having an opportunity to witness, to see, to participate in, to understand, and to just be around different types of family norms, different types of gender norms and identity styles.
Yeah, I remember when I first started, this is somewhat similar. I grew up not just in a religious household, but in an abusive one. And I had no idea that it was abusive until I started going to friends' houses in college and spending the week with another family and realizing, oh, there are different ways to do this. And that kind of exposure therapy of just spending time with people who interact in ways you're not used to and kind of normalizing that in your own brain does wonders. It normalizes it. It gives you those new pathways to build, those new concepts to kind of build a foundation on. So if you have friends who you can kind of rely on for that, or even if you're looking online, there are a lot of amazing people on YouTube, present company not excluded, who are making their lifestyles known and being out and proud. And I think just doing that kind of research would be a great first step.
Absolutely.
And also take time. 5 years is a long time in some respects, but also not very long in other respects. And it seems like you're doing a whole lot of soul searching and a whole lot of deconstructing and putting yourself back together in a way that you want to be, and that's amazing. But also, cut yourself a little bit of slack. It's going to take a long time to really deconstruct everything, and that's not a bad thing. It just means that you're doing it in a healthy and introspective way.
I think
there's definitely no
timetable
or schedule for these kinds of things.
Yeah, exactly. You're not behind. You're not missing anything. You're taking your time and you're doing it responsibly, and that's great.
And as much as you're wanting to change these things about yourself, change these things about the way you view the world, there's also a lot of value in just accepting that this is where you're at right now, that these are the struggles that you're going through right now, and having compassion and patience for yourself as that changes.
Okay. Do y'all have time? Can I hit you with one more thing?
Real quick, we do want to make sure that we don't keep Chrissy too long. But if you, I
don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah, real rapid fire if you can. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically it kind of follows with my last issue, which was I was born and raised in the Mormon church. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, my mother wasn't present when I was growing up. And so my sister wound up being adopted to a very fundamentalist Mormon family. Like, you either go to BYU or you don't have an education, that kind of thing.
Right.
And my biggest fear in life is I know that she loves her brother, but because I was raised that way, I know what I was taught. I worry she's going to just, disown me as her family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's hard. And I'm dealing with something similar with a close family member. So there's no predicting how that's going to go. Unfortunately, these kinds of communities are predatory and destructive. And when you aren't able to fit into it, and sometimes, even if you became an atheist, maybe people wouldn't cut off contact. But if you're trans, it's a different matter. Mm-hmm. It's just there's a lot of losses that come with these experiences, and that's shitty, and it shouldn't be that way. And I hope that we have a better world in the future where it will be less and less that way for people. But you grow up in a strict religious background, and you're queer, there will be social consequences and psychological consequences.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fair to say.
If you do want to talk more about this, we can either make sure that we hold a space for you next week, Or you can email us at sex@atheist-community.org, or you can leave a voicemail at our new voice inbox at 512-666-0ASK. It's 512-666-0275. And we can talk about that more in depth next week as well.
Absolutely. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, that sounds wonderful. I'd love to talk to you all again.
Wonderful.
Okay. Well, looking forward to it. Thank you so much for calling in, and we'll look for your next message.
Yeah.
Take care.
All right. Thank you guys for taking my call. Again, you've all been a huge help in forming myself. So
Glad
thank
to
you.
hear it.
Thank you so much.